Well, welcome back to the channel. Today is August 21st, 2026, and I'm going to be looking at actually multiple charts today. This is the first time I've done this. I just felt like I needed to do this because there's been a lot of action in cryptocurrency recently, and obviously it's because Bitcoin's been has had a little bit of a run, but I want to try to explain how to tell when a bull market is actually occurring. And what I think just we just saw in what we're currently in the midst of, while it could be the start, to be honest with you, it hasn't passed the test. You need to look for multiple confluences for these things to happen. So before we get started, I am an amateur trader and investor. I uh, I don't have a job that involves finance, so therefore I doubt I have the nuance of a long-term professional trader. Please keep that in mind as I'm going over the charts. But I do enjoy looking at the charts, and if this helps you do some more research or get a second opinion, I encourage you to do that. I have nothing to sell. Uh, but what I like to do is just show you what I'm seeing, uh, and I don't know everything. So I'm just going to go by the knowledge that I've learned, and if that helps you, that's just all I'm hoping for. So let's first start off with Bitcoin. Um, so what I'm looking at is I am on the Bitcoin index. I'm on the monthly chart. This is where each candle represents a month of price action. And so as you can see, over the last 2 months, Bitcoin's been doing good. It has gone up. Let's see here. Let me get my ruler. It has gone up about 35%. Okay. Now, there is some things that we need to go over. One, the moving averages on the monthly, and in this case, on the weekly, they are not in the proper formation. And what do I mean by proper formation? I mean the 8, which is white, the green, which is the 20, and the purple, that is the 50 moving average. And normally you love to see price be above the 200. Currently, Bitcoin's price on the weekly is above the 200. Notice that it's been above the 200 on the monthly for the longest time. And that's because the 200 is just starting to form on Bitcoin. It's relatively new showing up on the charts. So if we go back down to the weekly, as you can see, the 8 is below the 20 and the 20 is below the 50. Before you start these large bullish upward trends, it has to be different. You have to see the 8 on top, the 20 in the middle, and the 50 on the bottom. And there's usually a period where they compress together, especially on the weekly, and then they start going up and getting spread farther apart. And the way that looks is if you go back down to here, okay, way back here at the start of, let's see, this is 2022. You can see the 8 starts to move on top of the 20. The 20 then crosses the 50, and then in this particular case, even though it was below the 200, they all passed the 200 eventually. But you see this chain where the 50 is below the 20 and the 8, and they start a rise. It's almost like a train track. Okay. And there are times in the bull run where it needed to blow off some steam on the weekly. So you saw the 8 break down below the 20. But notice that once the bull run started, the price never pretty much got below the 50. Okay. So all I'm trying to say is that right now, Bitcoin has not proven to us that this is the start of its bull run. It's just proving that it's having a breakout. Okay. And that breakout is exciting. Now, from a long term perspective, I'm looking at the monthly chart again. Okay. Bitcoin has reached an all time low on the relative strength index. However, as I've talked about, it's had bearish divergence. It really hasn't set, and it's had bearish divergence on this chart and had bearish divergence back here. It really needs to reset some more now. Does this mean it's breakout? Maybe. But also on the stochastic RSI from the monthly, notice that the last time it crossed was February of 2023. We have not crossed yet. Now, it looks like it's making its way to it, but notice we had a little dip here. We could experience another little dip before we start going up. And if you look at the monthly money flow index, measures overbought, oversold. We are down here oversold, but look, we haven't reached this area of oversold yet. Okay, so just keep in mind, Bitcoin hasn't proven that the bull run has started. So let's start taking a look at some other coins here. Let's take a look at AVAX. Let's go to AVAX. It's up a little bit. Okay, notice that recently, from a weekly perspective, it has gone up about 21%. Okay, that's exciting. But let's go. But again, I want you to notice the moving averages. The price is above the 8, but it's still below the 20, and the 50 is up here. Okay, it hasn't ranged. It hasn't got broken into that formation. If you go back to the monthly chart for AVAX, notice that we are still an inside bar. Remember this long bearish wick? We have not surpassed that bearish wick yet, and we'll have to just see what happens over the rest of few days. Does this break out of this area? The reason why I'm calling this an area is this is what I would call the accumulation zone. And if you look at the weekly, we're still accumulating, but it appears that the accumulation has risen a little bit higher. But again, it could go back down for the moving average to catch up with the 20. Remember, during accumulation, sometimes there's some games that are played. There could be a lot of short liquidity up here, and this could just be market makers and big institutions trying to grab that liquidity and get into AVAX. But again, they may sell it to grab the lower liquidity, the long liquidity down here. I don't know how much is sitting here. So, because I don't see those things, they can. Okay. All right. So keep that in mind. That's AVAX. It still has not proven that it is out of its bull run. But before I move on, let's go take a look at AVAX over from relative strength index perspective, and we'll just do a short cursory glance. From the monthly, again, we are the lowest we've ever been, but notice the stochastic RSI in the monthly is nowhere near crossing. If we look at the weekly has crossed and it's heading up. And for the entire bull run of AVAX, do you really expect the weekly to stay all the way up here with the monthly still being below? That means there's still possibly, even though it's crossed now, and the last time it crossed was March 2026, now it's crossing again in July 2026. We'll have to see. The money flow index looks pretty good. We got to near overbought levels on the weekly. And on the relative strength index, we definitely went to overbought. So sure, this could be the start, but still, we're not seeing all the factors of a possible bull run occurring. I'm still waiting for the monthly to get closer and do a cross. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm also looking for this bearish candle to be wiped out. So that's what I'm looking for. All right, let's take a look at XRP. So XRP was trading at near a buck, and now on the weekly, we're now trading at 41 cents. So that is, if we look currently to its top and its bottom, it went up about 31%. So that's really exciting. However, if we look at it from, to me, it has broken out of the accumulation zone that we were looking at. I had to take some drawings off because I didn't have them right on this particular chart. And because really what I would say is our accumulation zone is around here. Okay. And then we're waiting for some, and then we had this kind of area. This was sitting at about 97 cents. So we have definitely had a breakout of the accumulation zone. Does this mean that XRP is going to keep going? Well, again, let's take a look at the moving averages. This is the weekly, and as you can see, the while the price is definitely above the 8 and it's now above the 20, notice that the 8 moving average on the weekly is not above the 20. And right now, the 20 is in the process of crossing below the 200. So we still are not in what I would call bullish formation yet on the chart. We do see that it is probably broken out of its accumulation zone, but if you look at it from a monthly perspective, what this candle hasn't printed, and if XRP keeps on goes back down and tries to enter this accumulation zone again, then all it's going to show up as is just a long wick, just kind of like here that it sees right here. So uh, we have broken out of this long bearish candle from the monthly. However, until this candle prints, and what I mean by that, there's still 10 days before this candle finishes. If this just wicks over this particular bearish candle, that I would consider that as essentially, you know, that's just liquidity hunting. People are trying to, uh, you know, you know, there's some short stops up here, and they wanted those short stops. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to go down the next couple of days. It looks like it is to me, but let's go take a look at the monthly relative strength index. We are in the lowest areas that we've ever been in XRP. This is the Binance chart. It's the longest chart history that I found. But notice that on the monthly, we have not had a stochastic RSI cross. The last time we had a stochastic RSI cross, it was, a full period here is this would be October of 2023. We had a mini one that was failed, and even that was pretty exciting. That was August of 2025. It couldn't make it all the way to the top. So, so we're still waiting for a monthly stochastic RSI cross. It hasn't occurred yet. It doesn't appear that it's close either. It looks like even though it's angled the right area, we're still waiting. So just keep that in mind. The moving averages are not in the right position. If we go to the weekly, it's the same thing. The stochastic RSI is looking good. There could be some more upside to XRP. However, because those other things are in place, if we look at the weekly again, comparing the weekly, we haven't had the bullish formation of the candles yet. And there's not enough sense that it's happening. Okay. Now, so we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. But just be warned that you could have a little bit of a whiplash. Okay. While this is great for short-term traders, if you're a long-term position trader like me, I still think there's still some more accumulation occurring for XRP. Now let's go to Solana. People are going to call me stupid and hate me, and that's fine. It's okay. I just talked about this one recently, and I said that there's more downside to Solana. I still believe there's still more downside to Solana, though it did have an exciting breakout. So I am looking at the monthly chart, and Solana's had a lot of wicking. I mean, look at this candle. Okay, I mean this was March. Look at how it just oof, scary stuff. Okay, but from a accumulation standpoint, to me, this is the accumulation zone, and we have broken out above it without a doubt. That has occurred. Okay, um, there's definitely this is the a top cap coin, and there is some accumulation going on. You can see it in the wicks. I'm not, especially if you look at the daily and the 4 hour, and we'll go take a look at that in a second. So that's good. It's broken out of this range, but does it stay there? Remember, we still have 10 days for this monthly candle. Will this just turn out just being a wick? I don't know. But again, take a look at the moving averages. This is the 8, the white line. This is the 50, and look where the 20 is. Okay? The 8 is nowhere near the 20, and even though the 20 is above the 50, it doesn't mean that the 20 has to cross down below the 50 for the bull market to start, but you want to see the 8 cross above the 20. And we haven't seen that. We still have a lot of expansion. You see how the space between these moving averages, it was a pretty sharp decline. There's still some, what I think needs to occur is some more accumulation for these moving averages to get closer together. If we look at it from a weekly perspective here, you will see, okay, we still have an incoming death cross. Now, again, I talked about this, and last time I talked about Solana. Is it going to be a shallow death cross, or is it going to be a deeper death cross? We don't know yet. But I will say this: if you use exponential moving averages and you put on the 50 exponential moving average, it's already had a death cross with over the 200. I use simple moving averages, uh, but it's already happened. Okay. All right. Now, and just throw it up on your chart and see. Okay. Now, from a weekly perspective, as you can tell, from a monthly, we saw some wicks down here, but the weeklies showed it as candles. So, again, I still think we are in an accumulation zone. Well, what I mean by that is there's still going to be some accumulation. I do expect price to probably drop down. I've already said this recently. Let's go take a look at the SOL chart here from a relative strength index. Okay. Uh, what I see from the weekly is yeah, it looks like it's on the relative strength index is breaking out. You do see the stochastic RSI above the 80, which means that it is now in an area where the momentum is overbought. And you do see on the money flow index, you see it's on the lower side, it's at 50, and it has gone to areas where Solana was oversold. Okay, but what I'm seeing is not really confirmation that that Solana is ready to break out yet. So just keep that in mind. Um, yes, is exciting, but that's kind of where we're at now. I'm gonna go look at a couple of lower cap altcoins. Let's go take a look at Dia real quick. There's a lot I could really look at, but unfortunately, based on time, and I'm not gonna be able to cover all of these. But let's go look at Dia here. Okay, sort of the same thing. Okay, the 200's up here. The 50, the death cross on the weekly's already occurred. It's down here. Going down. Let me go back to the monthly first, and Dia has a wide range of ranging. Okay, this is where I am placing the accumulation zone in here, anywhere in here. And as you can see, at one point the candle was up here for the month of July, but notice that it turned into a long wick, and that this is really where the body of trading was for Dia in the month of July. This is our current month, August, and we do see some lower wicks, higher wicks, and it's not as explosive as some other coins, but we are still in what I would call the accumulation zone. And if we drop it down to the weekly here, as you can see, we're still seeing the moving averages not being in the right formation. 8 is here, 20 is there, 50 is way up here, 200's up here. We don't have to cross the 200 for DIA to have a bull run. It's already pretty significantly below the 200. That from here to the 200 is actually a really great gain. But maybe on a multi-year perspective, you definitely want to see DIA get above the 200. But right now, what I'm seeing is that the moving averages are not in the correct formation. Yes, the 8 is pointing up, but is it going to still point up? We don't know. If we take a look at the weekly charts for the RSI, yeah, we're seeing, you know, RSI moved from oversold to about the 42 mark, and it could continue to go up. The stochastic RSI is already in overbought territory, and we'll have to see how long it stays up there. But you know, traditionally with Dia's history, except when it was in its full bull run, the length of time that it stayed up above on the weekly was about 15 weeks. But notice since then, when we've been not really been in a bull run, the time that it's been staying up there is a lot less. So we take it from here. We're talking 5 weeks at the most. Okay. And just judging by the size, this is probably even lower. Let's see here. This is going to be, I'm not drawing this completely accurate, but as you can see, that was like 4 weeks. This one was 4 weeks. So if that one was 4 weeks, this one is 3 weeks. Again, when is it going to just come up here and then pop down? And what's interesting to me is the last time we had a stochastic RSI cross was April, and now it's July. Those are really close to each other. You could even say that, yeah, okay, so this is the first stochastic RSI cross. This is the second. Most assets only have 2 times they're going to have stochastic RSI cross. It doesn't mean it's not possible to have 3. I'm just saying most assets only have a stochastic weekly RSI cross 2 times a year. And we've had ours pretty close together. And one of the things you can tell is that of these stochastic RSI crosses, we have not actually gotten out of the accumulation zone. Okay, notice here. Okay, this wasn't the accumulation zone. This was kind of like the last pause of the bear market, and it wasn't very high above the accumulation zone. And right now, Dia is still accumulating. So that means that if you are looking for a long-term position on Dia, this is still the best accumulation period. And I do expect prices to probably come back down. We'll just have to see. And looking at this now, I'm just glancing at this. We could actually move this accumulation zone down here. Just looking at the weekly. Okay. I may have it up too high just looking at it. So we are wicking above this accumulation zone, and again, that's just market makers and games being played to hunt liquidity that's over here. But no, I don't think that is actually broken out. Okay, last coin we'll do fetch. Let's see, fetch. I'm going to move it first to the monthly here. Again, let's take a look at the moving averages. The 8 is really far on the monthly from the 20. And the 20 has crossed the 50, but there is no sign that this moving average is trying or attempting to get across the 50. You are seeing a little bit of a curve in the 8, but we have a high accumulation zone that I'm seeing for fetch. And right now we're near the bottom half, but again, it's had a good move. If we drop this down to the weekly, and you can see that it went below the accumulation zone. Again, this is stop loss hunting. Okay, so there probably were some longs down here, and they had some stop losses around lower this level. So this is market manipulators saying, okay, let's go grab those. And notice a big push up. Okay. Fetch has not put itself in the moving average formation to indicate that it is now in a bull run. We're still just accumulation sideways ranging. Okay, now let me go ahead and switch this to here, and let's go to the monthly. All right. Now, again, as we look at the relative strength index on this particular coin for fetch, it's been a lot lower. I'm not saying that we have to go to that low, but from the last time it had a big run, we are back to that level, and we are sitting slightly high above it, and that's because we're accumulating. And you did see a monthly stochastic RSI breakout. It did break out, but notice it was failed because it immediately went back down. So the question is it going to curve and go back up eventually? We'll have to see. The last time, notice that it had a stochastic breakout on the monthly. This was December of 2022. That is normal. Usually on most assets, you don't see a monthly stochastic breakout until sometimes it can be 2 years is probably the minimum. But usually you see it maybe every 2, 3, 4 years, somewhere around there. And we just had a little bit of breakout. Does that mean that it's over for fetch? No, not necessarily. It just means that it's not it hasn't started its bull run. That's what it means. Does it mean we're having way more downside? Um, I still think that fetch is ranging, so I don't expect a lot more downside. It's just the bull market hasn't started. If we go look at it from a weekly perspective, again, we're below 50, though it's starting. It's definitely had a rise. And if we look even at the weekly stochastic RSI, it looks like it wants to break out, but it hasn't. Okay, but the price has gone up. And if you look at the money flow index, it still thinks we're an oversold. So there hasn't been a large explosion of capital into fetch. Okay. So what I'm trying to accomplish with this video is just simply to say there are times in the market where it can go down for so long that you do have to have what's called like a relief rally. And what we're experiencing is a relief rally. This is not the start of the bull for most coins in cryptocurrency. Uh, and there's lots of other coins we can look at. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time today. Um, so I just want you to be careful out there. Um, don't go all in. Okay. Most of these coins, like I'm saying, are still in an accumulation zone. I haven't really talked about Bitcoin much, but I do expect there to be some more downside to Bitcoin. Uh, but it may over the next couple of days be more bullish, and that's going to really excite people on social media. You're going to see that in the media, and we'll just have to see. But again, I don't know what the market's going to do, but what I try to look for is confluence of factors that direct me that this is where the market is heading. And right now, based on what I'm seeing, based on a few things, as we talked about with the relative strength indexes, the stochastic RSIs, and the money flow indexes, we do not have a confluence of factors saying, "Oh, bull run started." We're still waiting. Okay. With that being said, listen, may God bless your day. This has been one of my longer videos. Um, and stay safe out there, and pray to the Lord for guidance and everything that you do, not just money.